For 3 decades, World Mission has been an important part of the ministry fabric in West Michigan, connecting through our well-known founding family, local thrift stores, and relationships in this ministry-minded community.
Well, in December of 1994, some business guys got together, and they just simply had a generic heart for the Great Commission. In fact, our first mission statement when I came on board in 1997 as the CEO was fulfilling the Great Commission. So pretty generic. So we did things in like wheelchair accessible, handicap ramps in West Michigan, and built orphanages in Haiti, water projects in Kenya, just a real random range of good things.
Growing from a family foundation doing a random range of good things to becoming a laser-focused international ministry has been our challenge and our calling.
Statistically, they say a third of the world doesn't have access to the gospel. We're spending more resources, that's the West, on Halloween costumes for our pets than what go to these guys who don't have access to the gospel. And when I read that, I just thought, not on my watch, not on our watch, and our organization became a heat-seeking missile that every single day from that moment forward, we would allocate ourselves into that very cause of taking the gospel where it's not been.
We have to focus on the core of what makes us unique. And so focusing on bringing the gospel in an oral tradition society to places that have never had access to it, that's a pretty big job.
In order to do that, we need to send out more treasures. We need to raise up more leaders. We need to have more training centers. We need to be able to do more water projects in places. I can't just show up in the areas of northern Nigeria and minister among Boko Haram. Village chiefs would not tolerate that at all. But that very same leader, if we come in and say, hey, can we do a water project? We know your people are walking 2 miles to get to a watering hole that's bacteria infested, there's parasites, animals are in there, and your babies are drinking that water too. Well, why would you care about that? Well, because we love you. Could we drill a water well in your community? And that very same leader who threatened our missionaries now all of a sudden said, hey, those things that they have in the House of Language, can we have one of them?
The staff at World Mission invited an expert consulting organization to spend a year with us in reflection and evaluation in order to maximize effective and faithful ministry moving forward. The mission was clearly re-articulated, a comprehensive strategy honed, and finally we turned our attention to the one thing that was a potential barrier to future ministry growth: our name.
Some of the things that I encountered, I had people ask me whether or not World Mission was the same as what they had supported at a Celine Dion concert. I had people tell me that they had supported a child sponsorship. There's a World Mission in every city.
Our website for years has been worldmission.cc. We could never obtain the .org or .com, and we were one of many organizations with very similar names.
What we realized is that although World Mission was a phenomenal name, and in December of 1994 when we started, it was a perfect name. But as God called us to more focused vision, the ends of the earth, reaching oral learners in places where the gospel had never been, the name World Mission started to become an inhibitor, quite honestly. It was getting confused with an organization called World Vision, or even World Missions. World Mission is registered so many different ways. It's generically used in almost every significant community around the country.
I was probably one of the foot draggers on the board. I wasn't against it, but I was cautious. Well, what won me over was that the people that do lead the organization were saying this would really help.
And as we looked at different names that substantively said something about the vision, we felt it was really important to use the word nations inside of our new name, because again, that's the name that's in the Great Commission. And then this idea, what do you pair that with? And we looked at literally 300 or more different pairings. Many organizations already have names that we liked, but they're registered. So we thought, well, that doesn't make sense. I mean, if we're gonna pick a name that's already out there, that's gonna kind of be a step backwards almost. And a website that's available, for example, that became important. And so God led us to this idea of making Christ known. That's what Paul said in Romans 15:20. It's my ambition to preach the gospel, particularly where the name of Christ is not known. And so when you bring those two things together, the word unknown nations, it was a Holy Spirit moment. That's all I can say.
Unknown nations, the idea of making Jesus known in the nations where he's not, and also making those nations known.
Make Jesus known. I'm like, that's my bumper sticker.
And we are absolutely confident that God has given the name Unknown Nations.